We are going to, on this Halloween, we're just going to kind of jump in. And actually, while Leika's on, we might even pick on her first and then some others. But today we're just talking, it's kind of open mic today. And we're just going to spend the whole time talking about our spookiest deals, challenges, or situations, right? Now we're all laughing. Because we've all had them. And any investor that tells us that they have never had a bad deal or have never had a bad experience or everything's always gone perfect, I'm like, you're obviously not really investing, because investing is a scary ordeal from time to time, not always. But in light of the fact that it's Halloween and none of us have our scary masks on, just because we don't need masks, we've all been through something. Corey and I are going to share a story that is going to probably make most of you cry. We don't tell this story because it makes us cry on how much money we lost and what a headache this project was. But we're going to pull back the curtains at the end and kind of reveal our situation. But we want to just kind of learn from each other. I think that the reason that we're willing to share is because there's always a lesson in every pain. There's always a purpose in every struggle. And on the deals that go bad, there's definitely something can be learned. And so good opportunity to learn from each other on Halloween weekend. So yeah, so I don't know, Leika, do you have anything? Like, I just figured, well, I might as well start with you while you're on there. I'm going to pick on you. Because I know I can.
Do I have anything? Like, which one do I pick? Wish I didn't have so many. Yes. Okay. So I want to say in 2018, I was under contract to buy a cosmetic fix and flip. And if you guys know me, I don't do cosmetic rehabs at all. Mine are mostly down to the studs, like crazy wackadoodle remodels. But then I ended up, saying yes to this cosmetic deal because why not? It was going to be a 3-month rehab, no permits, paint, carpet, just update kitchen cabinets, tile, and back on the market in about 45 days. It was a hot suburb of Seattle called Kirkland. If you guys are familiar with Kirkland, it is, such a seller's market. So a total slam dunk of a deal. So here's what happened. 4 days before we closed on escrow, my broker calls me and says, hey, we have a situation. The house burned down. Like,
oh my gosh.
The house burned down. And I was like, what in the world, right? So apparently someone lit a gas canister on fire in the deck. So this beautiful cosmetic home was charred. The whole roof was like blown off. It pretty much had one wall that was not affected, the front wall, kind of mostly affected, but like literally this house went from being a cosmetic 50K rehab to a full, almost new construction with a 250K rehab budget. So first of all, the good news is that we hadn't closed yet. We were 4 days from closing. So insurance basically took over and they took everything down to the studs. They took out all insulation, all drywall. They didn't let anything stay in the house. Like, it was a drastic night and day difference, all in a span of 24 hours. And the whole roof was like, tarped. It was a brand new composite roof that was now just had tarp on it. Actually just had a big hole. So I had to get someone to put a tarp on it. But so insurance took 4 months to remediate the whole fire damage before they even allowed us to buy it. But here's the kicker, right? So I was going to buy it for $610. And instead, I ended up getting the house under contract. Now the new price was $460 because
it was a fire sale.
Yeah, it was a fire sale. So I have a name for this. I have a name for this project. It's called the Kirkland Sizzle because it was a sizzle. And so, yeah, I ended up getting this house for $460, which is also quite incredible because you don't even get land for that price in Kirkland. And meanwhile, I had foundation, I had walls, I could salvage some of the existing structure. And then what was going to be like a 45-day remodel took me about 7 to 8 months, because the city of Kirkland is extremely strict with everything. So they don't let you hold on to windows that are not, egress. Like even on the second floor of the house, like they all need to be egress. So we literally had to change everything. We had to make sure that there wasn't a single piece of fire damage left in the house. So when I say like a new construction home would have been so much easier because you just build from scratch, this one was like, kind of remodeling existing, and like, it was just a total shit show. And then not only that, we had to go through how many 27 inspections to get our final inspection. So like, talk about scary. Like every time I saw the inspector pull up, and it's the same guy that pulled up every single time, like it would just give me heartburn, because it was just like, oh my God, what is he going to catch today? And that's going to just cost me more money. So this went on for like 7 or 8 months, but what we ended up putting out in the market, I am so proud of, because it was just the most stunning 2,700 square foot, beautiful 4 bed, 3 bath, massive open floor plan, kitchen, stunning new deck, like fully fenced yard, huge wet bar in the basement. Like it was just amazing. We put it on the market, and literally 4 hours after we put it on the market, we had an offer. Within 3 days, we had about 7 offers, and we ended up selling it for pretty much a little bit more than what we put it on the market for, but made a killer profit in the back end. So it was a scary turned nice deal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a little scary to get that call. Yeah, the property you're about to buy burned. That's
Yeah, it was almost like, like it was maybe God's way of saying, you don't do cosmetics, stick to full gut.
Yeah, well, or you do cosmetics, but it's cosmetics on steroids. It's like you're gonna get a full cosmetic one, but that's awesome. That's cool. But yeah, Kirkland is crazy. We have a fire station up there that it's been a nightmare. I think we've held it now over a year and a half, and it just every time they show up, they find something else. I'm like, why didn't you find this 20 months ago? But
right,
it's Kirkland. Yeah, so don't do rehabs in Kirkland unless you got lots of time and you got lots of money.
Yes. Or a good hard money lender like Keiko Capital.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, your commission check's coming. I'll write you a check right now. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. That's a good scary one to kick off with.
As long as you're handing out money, I'll take some.
Perfect. You have to refer us, people who need money. We like giving money away, and then we'll give you money for giving away our name to give away money.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, Leica. I know you got to get onto a podcast.
Yes, see you guys. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Leica.
Thanks for jumping in. Go ahead, Corey.
Well, does anybody else have anything, any scary moments out there, maybe on the job site or inspecting a property, or a crazy deal that they've got? I want to see if somebody can beat what we got. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's scary, but I was showing property, I think it was last year or the year before, to an investor in Eva Beach. And he got there early before me. And he calls me up and he goes, there's someone dead in the carport.
What?
And no joke, no lie. Someone was dead on a mattress.
Dead, like mock kind dead.
Like been dead since the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh.
I think we got a winner.
Never mind.
Same year, same buyer.
Winner.
In Waianae. We go and show this property they live in the house. I don't know if I think they were definitely tenants. And there was this lady sitting in the carport smoking a cigarette, and she only had 3 teeth, and she wasn't wearing bra, or wasn't well maintained. So she's so sweet though. And I ended up rehoming her dog because the dog was just like riddled in fleas and everything and just in bad condition. We go in the house. We think no one's in there because, she stepped out for us to look at it. And, we hear moaning in the background, like, oh, no lie. We go back there. There was a guy on a mattress in the bedroom with like black grunge around the walls at like his bed level, and his toenails, he was just laying there, wide eyes. So he was obviously blind, and he was just looking up with his eyes open at the ceiling, like immobile, and his fingernails and his toenails were like really, really long and yellow. And the mattress didn't have a sheet or anything. He just had a sheet on him. And like the nightstand was really far away, so he couldn't reach anything. And he's like, hungry. And he's very frail, very thin. And he was just saying hungry. And I was with my client, and we're like, and I go out to the front door, and I was like, man, there's a man in the bedroom, like saying he's hungry. Can I feed him something? She's like, no, he's fine. He just ate some rice this morning. He always says that all day, every day. And I was like, okay. I mean, he appears to be hungry. So like, okay. So I just leave and go back into the house, and I open up the rice cooker because the rice was bone dry. Like there was nothing in there. It wasn't like fresh this morning or anything like that. It was like crispy and old with roaches and stuff. I opened up the fridge, and there was a couple ketchup packets and like a shoyu bottle and nothing else in the fridge. There was nothing in the cabinets. This man was obviously starving. And I didn't know what to do. It smelled really, really bad. And so I walked back out, and I was like, who is that? She's like, oh, that's my husband. And I was like, maybe he should get some help. And she's like, he wouldn't take care of me either if the roles are reversed. And I heard you just die already. He's such a hassle. I was like, what? Oh my God. I called the agent, and I was like, that's health, safety, a spousal abuse, check all of the boxes. This poor buyer, and he's killing it this year, 2 years later. I think it made him tougher.
You want to tell the story of how you almost pushed me off the mountain that one time?
Oh my gosh.
I don't think we have enough time for that one. Maybe we'll save that one.
I did not almost push you off the mountain. You were moving too slow, and there was a creepy guy in the middle of the woods up a mountain that we had to scale. And I'll make it real fast. That one was also top 5 creepy. I happen to have a new listing lead online. I go to get there, and he goes, oh, make sure you wear sneakers. It's a steep hill. And I was like, well, I didn't, but I always have slippers in the car. So I get there, and I pull up, and Corey, I was late for the appointment. He didn't answer the phone, and my appointment was at 10. He calls me back at 10. He said, where are you? I said, you didn't answer your phone. So I went to my next appointment, which happened to be with Corey. So I said, hey, Corey, can you jump in the car with me and just come with me to this listing appointment? It's a fixer-upper. I can tell. He sounds like he's ill. It sounds like the house is in good condition. So it could be just we can make a deal right there on the table. He's like, yeah, let's do it. We drive up there. I get to the bottom of the hill. I call him. I said, where? I'm like, this is a 75-degree angle incline. Like when you go up, and I go, I don't know if my car can make this. So I had to like back up and drive as fast as I can to get up the hill. And then I had to park inside a driveway real fast, which was very narrow, and the car was kind of tilting. So like, it just felt like the car was going to roll over because I'm at an angle. Corey can't even get out of the car because he can't open the door. We climb out. The guy calls me. He goes, can you get the mail out of the mailbox at the bottom of the driveway? And it's a big old mailbox, and it was packages and mail and a bunch of stuff. This guy hasn't checked his mail in months. That's why he got the big one. We had to scale the hillside, and it was rope. You had to use a rope that was tied to an old rusted pickup at the top of the hill that was on no tires, on metal. And you had to walk sideways, and it was all the pine needles. So we get up there, and Corey's like, nope, not going. Let's get out of here. This is not worth it. I will not buy a house on this incline. There's just no way. You can't get equipment up here. I'm like, well, someone got this truck up here, so it's possible. And so he goes, no. We get up there, everything's abandoned. There's one house to the right looking by the water that's you have to access by bridge, and the bridge is gone. There's no way a guy could live in there. Then there's a house to the right up. You kind of have to hike around it, but all of the windows are smashed and it's covered with trees. So there's no way someone could be living in there. So I'm calling his phone. He's not answering. No one can hear us up at the top of the hill here. There's just no way. So finally, Corey starts calling his name, like, Bill, Bill. And we go hiking up around the broken down car. There's another set of rope that's like kind of hidden in the trees. We hike up the other side of the rope into the woods. Now we're straight up in the forest. He's calling the name Bill. And then you hear way off in the distance, I'm up here. And I just get the
a really creepy voice.
Oh, it was so creepy and like gurgly and like really distant. I was like, at this point, I'm way too curious to leave. And Corey's like, I'm out of here. And I'm like, no, come on. Like, how can you not want to see where he is? So we have to hike through the trail and it gets thinner and thinner, straight forest, nothing around now. And all of a sudden you break through to this opening, barely on the cliffside. There's a 3-story house built in the middle of the woods that is not accessible by vehicle. And there's no windows or doors on the entire side of the house facing you when you walk up to it. So the way that they built it was so no one can see in when you walk up to it. There was only on the side facing the trees. And then all of a sudden a metal door swings open on the other side and it like swings and he goes, I'm inside, come in here. And I was like, why are you not coming out here? Like, no. And I've got all this mail.
Like a setup.
So all of a sudden I hear creaking and I drop his mail and the croissant I picked up for him and I drop it onto the ground and Corey just stands in the way and I'm booking it out of there. Like, no goddamn way am I sticking around. He's obviously going to murder us. And Corey's like, oh, now I'm curious. So he's in my way when I was down the mountain and he slipped on the leaves, which was not my fault.
I did not slip on the leaves. I was pushed and I had to grab a tree and I had scratches all on my arm. Let's just say, when it comes to fight or flight, we know. We know. Okay.
I'm pretty feisty. I'm pretty on the fight side, but that one, there's a reasonable level of flight that needs to kick in.
It was really creepy. Like, it felt like a setup. Like, this guy was like, you know, it was probably the steepest property I've been to ever out here.
Yo, guys, I have to ask. I went to this house, I swear. Is it in Kalihi?
Yep.
Yep.
I went to this house. Oh my God. I thought the guy was going to swing. I went to this house. I know exactly who you're talking
Did
about.
you meet the guy?
I did. And he like crawled out or something. Is that what happened? Like he didn't have
the door open with no windows on the side. He just swung the door open. He's like, come inside. And
Did you ever see him?
Is he on oxygen? Because it sounds like he is.
Yeah. From what I remember, he was like, he couldn't use his legs or something. Like I don't remember the gist of it, but I thought for sure he was going to have a gun and that was the end of my days. I went
Did
up
you
there
go
with
all the way
Vanessa
up, Brian?
I went all the way up. I know exactly what you're talking about. I went to his front door and I thought for sure he was going to get me. That was going to be the end of my days. I was with Vanessa Turk. I'm sure you guys know her. Yeah. And she wouldn't go up with me. And you are describing to a T what I experienced. And it was, my fight or flight was definitely kicking in. I was like, whatever, screw it. If this is it, this is it.
Did you see him though?
Yeah, I did. I actually ended up talking with him for like 5 minutes, and I knew I was wasting my time because he wanted way too much money for the property, but I saw it through. That's back when I was real desperate.
Wow. Well, you must have been really desperate because that was probably one of the spookiest properties I've been to. And I almost died, legit. Almost off the mountain.
Terrifying.
The other side, not the.
That's hilarious that Brian went to that one too. Oh, man.
I know another realtor did too, but she didn't get as far as we did. Brian's the only one that I know successfully got to the door.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks for kind of telling that story to the T of how it went down. All right. I know there's a lot of people on here that got more stories. Anybody any learning lessons from actually, Lakos turned out pretty well. So if your property that you're going to buy burns down, it doesn't mean it's still not a good deal. I think that's what we learned on that one. On Ashley's one is if there's a guy moaning, try to feed him and probably should call not CPS. What is the other one? Social services or something? Call the professionals. I think that's a learning lesson. And if you're on a steep mountain with Ashley, just watch out. That's what I've learned. Okay. All right. who else has some stories that we can learn from, or any spooky stories or any learning lessons? Because I still don't think those beat ours. Anybody? Let's see.
I have one.
Okay. Hi, Helena.
Hi. Well, I don't really have an investing story to share, but maybe a help, an advice for
Yep.
a man that we know whose house did burn down 2 years ago. He has not paid his taxes. He's living in this very bad conditions that has absolutely only like maybe one room spared. It's in a very beautiful prime location, and I'm trying to help him with getting a title transferred from his mom. No, I don't need it. And so he is actually a little bit slow on that end. Plus, he has so many medical issues that next for not payment of taxes next May, probably the property is going to go for foreclosure. So at this point, we got him to get an ID. So he has an ID with which he can order, ask for mom's death certificates, and then ask for the property to be transferred through an attorney or someone. So I don't really know how to help him out, but this property is, on a hill, and it's in a prime location.
What state are you in?
Hawaii.
Oh, you're in Hawaii. I know that we do a lot of foreclosure and probate properties here in Las Vegas. And what we've had to do is basically just make them the executor. So file for probate, show that they have a right or an interest to the property. And then through that probate process, he'll be issued the executorship and given the opportunity to navigate the process of selling the home to you. So I don't know. I don't know how long probates are taking there. For us, it's an extra 14 days right now because of COVID. And once you receive the documentation, they won't open it for 14 days because they don't want COVID to be on it. So,
Well, I have been strongly encouraging him to employ an attorney. It's just as he has to do it, and he doesn't have a foresight. He is a little bit challenged in that way. So,
well, probate's pretty easy to file. All you got to do is get the local documents off of your family assistance site, put it out and file it. That's it. It costs like $25 to record anything, and then he should be able, that is the executor. So it's
I thought we have to hire an attorney. His mom left a will, in her will, which also burning the house. He has all money, from all kinds of different investments that she had. That could be his, but he is not pursuing it. And it's so upsetting to me because I want to help him. But I thought it was, we have to have an attorney in order to do the probate.
If he's on the will as the...
He doesn't have the will. We don't know who his attorney was, who mom's attorney was, who made a will.
So then he would just estate. So he would just file...
He doesn't have the...
Well, he would just probate testate. And
thank you for brainstorming. I'll probably, he could go to the Free Legal Aid Society. It's just a matter of getting him to do it. So might be that he ends up losing it come May, and it's gonna go for foreclosure.
Well, you can still file probate in the foreclosure process, and that'll extend the foreclosure timeline.
I see. All right, thanks.
Welcome.
I'll try to relay this to him.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel. Hello, team.
Hey, what's up,
How are
Nick?
you doing? How are you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. Not much. My name is Nick. I'm new to investing and things like that. I'm seeking some funding, possibly $200K on a apartment complex. And I don't know, just wanted to know if you guys can give me a little bit of advice to a new investor, and hopefully I can be on you guys' level one day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What market are you in?
I live in the Houston area, and this is outside of Dallas, Kylene, Texas.
Okay.
It's a 26 unit apartment complex. 1.4 million.
1.4. Okay. How many units? 26.
26, correct.
What's your exit strategy? You gonna?
I want to buy and hold. I want to. I want to own it. This is gonna be my retirement strategy. Buy as much property as I can, and just buy and hold.
Nice. So does the property need to be repositioned?
No, not at all. It's I think it's like 96% occupied. They remodeled it and everything like that, and no work needs to be done.
Okay. What's like so you need 200,000 for what, the purchase of it?
Correct.
Okay. And that's all you need. You have the rest to hold on. And then you're gonna what are you gonna use to secure the main financing?
I have a lender who's gonna finance like 85% of it.
Okay. Is that a long-term loan?
Correct.
Okay.
But I think what they do is they change the rate up every 5 years. I think fixed rate 5%, 5 years, and then we renegotiate after that. Every 5 years they renegotiate.
So the loan adjusts, you mean?
Correct.
Okay. So it's okay. Well, are you in the Facebook group, Nick?
No, I'm not actually.
Oh.
Let me
Look up Keiko Exchange, KECO, and then Exchange. Join the Facebook group and then post in there, and we'll take a look at it. Try to post as much information as you can, though, on the property.
Okay.
Yeah, you have it under contract?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Well, post whatever information you feel comfortable. Obviously, the numbers, if possible, because we want to make sure that whoever goes in, if they're interested, it's a good deal, right?
Okay.
Nick, I'll send you that link for you.
Okay, Chitterbeard. Thank you, man.
No
Appreciate
problem,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Corey,
Anybody
can you
else got any
share
stories?
that Facebook again?
Say that again. Oh, Keiko Exchange. That's KECO Exchange. There we go. Ashley just put it in the chat.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So who I see you guys have the same name. Who's really Chidebre? Is that what it is?
I am.
Chidebre?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
Chief. I'm
gotcha.
Chief. Yeah.
You go by
The
Chief.
darker guy.
Gotcha. Where are you guys located?
I'm based in New York. I'm a business consultant. I just love making connections and things like that, and
Nice.
helping people get introduced to awesome opportunities like this, and especially meet with you guys, newbies, experienced guys, for newcomers, especially myself. I'm probably not getting into real estate investing very soon, after just experiencing the energy around here.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Well, glad to have you on, man.
I want to give you a shout out to Rachel as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for jumping on. Oh, Richie, I know you got stories, bro. What kind of stories you got?
Sorry, guys, it's kind of loud over here. I'm actually I picked up carpet. I said dropping off carpet to one of the projects right now.
Okay, well, go take care of business, bro. I got another guy I can call on.
Yeah, no, I don't. The stories I got is like nothing compared to some what I just heard. So
Okay.
you guys were physically scared. That's like different level kind of stuff.
Yeah. I was scared for my life for a little while.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I can't
right now.
I can't beat a dead body, but I got a pretty good story on a foreclosure alcoholic.
Yeah, okay. Let's go.
Okay, so this was a foreclosure lead. I got it actually through this like newer wholesaler that was kind of mentoring, and right away I recognized the lady sounded like she was just like, I don't want to show the property. It's a little bit, I'm just ashamed. Whenever they say that, it's usually it means something's like pretty bad. So, but I knew that kind of going in, but she had like a week before foreclosure. So like, it was like really like at the end of the road. And so I ended up going over there, door knocking the property with him, and she didn't want to open the door. So we could tell the TV was on, and we could tell somebody was in there on the couch, kind of just looking through the. It was a property where we could kind of walk up to it. It was a like kind of townhouse style condominium, but it was like they were all separate, so it really felt like there were houses. And so, but I was committed because I could tell like this lady has equity. I mean, she definitely needs to do something soon. So I came back like 2 days later with the same, new wholesaler. And this time she opened the door and I was ready. I had the contract. We had already kind of talked a little bit about numbers. We had, had a couple discussions. And then we walked in the door and it was the worst cockroach infestation you have ever seen. I mean, I literally thousands everywhere. And she was sleeping on the couch with the cockroaches and everything. It was, when I was getting the contract signed, they were crawling up my leg, and I'm looking over at the newer wholesaler, and I'm kind of smiling because I'm like, yeah, see, this is what it takes. This is what it takes. And so we get the contract signed, and then I left, and I ended up had to like really basically relocate her like to some other Airbnb because she was an alcoholic. She would literally call this bootleg Uber guy every day to get her a 12-pack from Walmart. And she was just pounding 12 packs, 18 packs of Coors Light every single day, and just slowly killing herself. So anyway, we tried to get her in rehab and everything, but long story short, just that cockroach infestation was so horrible. It was like, I have pictures of it. I still think about it because it was so bad. I couldn't believe she was living in that kind of condition. But it ended up turning into a $90,000 flip deal that me and my partner did. And it was a home run deal. So it turned out great. I don't know what if she ended up going to rehab or not. I tried to get her in rehab, her family wouldn't take her back, nothing. Like it was really, really like challenging. She ended up like just getting hotels, and some people you try to help, but they want to help themselves. And if they don't want to help themselves, you can't do anything about that. And we tried a lot to do everything we could, but the cockroaches again were just so. And then the neighbors loved us because they all had got the infestation too because of her. So they were so happy when we finally got her out and infected like 2-3 people right around her. So that's my alcoholic foreclosure flip story.
That's a nice one. Yeah. Sometimes those properties are like the best deals though, right? Like you can provide the best solutions for people like that. I remember the second deal I ever did. I did it with Jonah, who was on last week, right? And we walked in, there was dog feces caked into the carpet. They would just let their dogs just pee and poop all over the floor. Don't even clean it up. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and smelling. And oh gosh, that was the second deal I ever did. So I was like, oh, whoa, the smell was just insane. But cockroaches, I've seen. Hawaii is kind of common, we're in tropical, so like you'll see roaches, but an infestation like what I'm visioning like everywhere. We've had a couple of those, but I don't think as bad as yours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Alex,
there was nothing salvageable. Like open the cabinets and they were crawling out everywhere, every cabinet.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Where was that?
That's the worst cockroaches. Seriously. They're nasty.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Ashley Chandler's just asked in the chat, what about the Nihi deal? That's the one I was talking about. There was roaches everywhere in that property. It's in Kalihi.
We have a pretty good bug story from here in Vegas.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah. So this lady's in foreclosure, just retired, just lounging around, I guess, a few months in retirement. We get there, we're trying to help, door knocking, and walk in. She starts handing us documentation for everything going on, and I'm sitting on the couch, not thinking anything about anything. And all of a sudden, I open up this mortgage statement, bed bugs falling no joke, falling out of the envelopes. And I begin at that moment, I start looking around, and I'm like, where else are the bed bugs? And I'm looking, they're crawling on her arms. They're crawling like around her neck. And all of a sudden at that moment, I'm just like, gotta go.
Yeah, because you like bring that stuff home, right? Like you don't want to bring that home.
I call my wife and I'm just like, hey, I need you to bring me clothes because I'm covered in bed bugs.
Yeah, I know. That's one thing, like we got to remember when we're going through these houses, like we don't want to bring anything back. You know, bed bugs is easy to bring back. Fleas, you know, lice. So just got to be careful. Yeah. And Alex, how did you deal with your roach problem? You just call pest control? You call like a pest control company?
Yeah, we had to bomb it like 3 or 4 times, and I mean, even when we were showing it at the end, they kept on coming out, or the dead ones were like, oh, we had to keep cleaning because like we were already on the market showing it, but they were still dying everywhere because they were everywhere. Like it
Oh
was
my
so
God.
bad. Yeah. So we kept
Yeah.
bombing it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure people on this call have been in a hoarder house. I've been in one. That was kind of spooky. Like newspapers to the ceiling and just like kind of going through like stacks of just stuff everywhere. And I could not believe it. Like you see it on TV, but when you actually walk through like a hoarder house, it's insane. Like a legit hoarder house. Like there's like, you know, sometimes parents can be the hoarderish, they keep everything, right? But I'm talking about a real hoarder. Does anybody have any of a hoarder story? Rachel has one.
Totally have a hoarder story. All right. So mom and dad passed away. And so it's left to the children, the daughter and the son. So they're older. We go over and it's a huge lot over in the area where you can still have ranches in Las Vegas, like horses and other things like that. And I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, they need help with the probate. We're going to walk in, you know, it's just going to be quick, simple. It's a great house. This thing can sell for like 650 and it only needs about 80 in work. And we're buying it for 250. Perfect, you know? So, or 252, my bad. So we go to this house and walk in. Front room isn't too bad, but the dining room table is covered to the ceiling. There's a path that goes around it. So we're all walking around, okay, go into the back recreational room of this area. The kitchen's cleared. Ceiling, literally pathways to be able to get to places. The ceiling is falling in. The half of this crap is just soaked. It's terrible. And so we're walking around the house. We go back into the garage, same thing, to the ceiling. Not only that, the rest of the house is full, and there's a shed that's 2,000 square feet in the back.
Oh, yeah. Let me guess. To the ceiling.
To the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's got like car jack lift beams on there, and it's just full. And we're just looking at this property. I mean, there's a machine workshop next door to it, full. And what do? So we just turned around and wholesaled the thing.
Oh, you guys, okay, I see you wholesaled it. Yeah.
I mean, we bought it for 252 and needed 80 in work. And we were just like, hey, there's a lot of equity in this. There's a lot to clean up, but there's a lot of equity.
Well, hoarder properties are actually could be really great deals because like hoarder is just stuff. You know, your guys can come out and trash that house in like 1 to 2 days, maybe, you know, and then, you know, hopefully the rest of the house is still good. But sometimes when there's hoarders, then there's roaches and God knows whatever, right? But
thank God in Vegas, the dry heat kills the roaches, but there were rats, there were mice,
right, yeah.
there were random cat hides everywhere.
Wow, yeah. It sounds like you've been through a lot of crazy stuff, just hey, like us. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Rachel. And since we're before, I don't want to run out of time, and Keiko and Alex have to take a very important call. They've been waiting for, so they'll be back on hopefully by the time, you know, tell this story, because it would be good to have Keiko on. But I think our story is pertains to everybody on this call because it was a huge learning lesson. Let's just say everything that could have gone wrong on a project went wrong. And all the decisions that we thought we could have made, that we thought we were making right decisions, turned out weren't right decisions. And hindsight's always 2020, right? So this is let's just put it this way. This is a property that I posted about this like months ago too, when we were about to go to market. And this is a property out in Kahala, and Ashley helped us sell it, thank God. But we bought this property for 1.29 million in 2018. I think early 2018. I don't remember the exact date, but at the time it was the lowest priced property that was purchased in Kahala neighborhood. So we bought right, we thought. And I'll give you guys the 30,000 foot view, so you guys can start running numbers in your head. So we bought it for 1.29 million in 2018. Okay, we sold it for 1.65, I believe. Maybe Ashley, if you can confirm that for me, in April of this year. Okay, so we held it for over 2 years. We had hard money and private money on it. So we were paying about, in total, $15,000 a month in interest. Okay, we were bleeding $15,000 a month in interest for 2 years. So I think it was like 26 months or something like that. So if you can do the math on that, I think that's like almost 400 grand in interest that we paid. Okay, so if you're running numbers in your head already, you can see where this is going, right? We bought it for 1.29, held it for 2 years, paying $15,000 a month for 26 months, right? What is that? I don't even know if I want to see this number. $390,000 in interest, roughly. Plus, there's extension fees. There's, I don't think we refied. I think we just extended. So, but we must extend it at least twice. Okay. And when you extend with a hard money loan, you're probably going to pay at least 2 points, right? And the principal balance on that one was probably around like 1.3 million, I think. So every time we extend, that's 26 grand. So that's 52,000 right there, right? So we're roughly at 430,000. We haven't even talked about the renovation costs yet, right? So 1.29, about 400,000 in interest, puts us at 169, right? Yeah. And what did I say we sold it for? 165, right? So originally our ARV when we bought it was over 2 million. Because, I thought that was a little high. Like that's mistake number one, was we were not conservative. We're too optimistic on our ARV, which you would think we would, by now we would know, with all the deals that we've done, you would think, because I'm the very one that says, hey, make sure you're conservative on your ARVs, right? Because that can kill you. So mistake number one, we were too optimistic and we weren't conservative enough, right? So we took 2 years. Some of it was our fault. Some of it was for things out of our control. So which is either way, it tells you why you have to be conservative, right, with your numbers, because anything can happen, and everything did happen on this one. So after paying all the interest, all the extension fees, and selling for far less than what we thought we could sell for when we bought it, you can start doing the math. We are upside down, multi 6 figures by now, right? Now let's talk about the renovation, because we had a decision when we first bought the property. It was a 3-bed, 1.5 bath or something like that. We could have either renovated it, spent like 140,000 and sold it for like maybe, I think roughly around we thought we could sell it for roughly around 1.75 million. Okay. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1.75 million. So do a kind of an easy rehab. It was single wall construction though. And in Kahala, you know, if you're gonna try to put something on market, you kind of gotta spice it up. You know, it's kind of more of a luxurious neighborhood, high-end neighborhood. So we decided to go the other route where we blow out the entire back, and I'll show you guys pictures, and vault the ceilings and make it this like a immaculate home, right? So our budget was, if we went that route, I think we started out at 300. So the second mistake is that we made the wrong decision in going the route of blowing out the house and turning it, you know, into a beautiful property instead of just renovating to what we had and getting in and out of the deal. So that was mistake number 2. So mistake number 3 is we grossly underestimated our renovation budget. So we ended up spending, I think, roughly around 475,000 for the renovation. So we're over budget, I think about 125 grand, right? And so 475,000 for the renovation, 400,000 in interest payments, roughly about 52,000 in extension fees to the loan. And we bought it for 1.29 and we sold it for 165, right? So anyways, at the end of this whole ordeal, I would say we lost, and we don't know for sure yet because we still have to get this project audited. We just sold it in 2020. So 2021, I guess the bright side is we're going to have a nice write-off, you know, on this deal. So at the end of the day, I'm guessing after we audit everything, which we're kind of in the process of doing, I'm guessing we're going to be slightly north of $700,000. Okay. That is what you call a bad deal. I hope it doesn't end there. So talk about nightmares for Halloween, you know, maybe this could, it's a big learning lesson. And that's the whole point of us having these calls, you know, because, you know, we have the same people that's on these calls. We're sharing our stories. We're bringing in people from our network to talk about their, you know, what they do so we can learn. But another part is like, we got to talk about the reality, right? Like when I was thinking of this, I was like, man, you know, this is the dark side of, you know, of what we do, because it's fun to talk about the wins, you know, and financial freedom and the pursuit of entrepreneurship, utilizing real estate. But we got to remember that this is a real, you know, real life business that we're running. We're playing Monopoly in real life, and it's not Monopoly money. It's real money, right? So we're dealing with real hard assets, real people. And so what we have to remember is when we started to hit a point, which is probably about halfway to little over halfway through the project, when I started to realize we're in big trouble, you know, and I don't know how bad this, you know, crashes. It's just, it was more prepare for impact, you know. And so as soon as we hit that moment, and it's a hard reality, and sometimes it's hard to face, right? But the number one thing that we have to think about now is finishing the project and making sure that all of our investors who put their trust in us and their, you know, hard-earned money, investment funds with us, get taken care of, right? So that's all I'm thinking about now is let's minimize the damage, because this brace for impact, it's coming. We're gonna get slammed with a huge loss. So the main thing is let's make sure that nobody else gets hurt, right? So what I can say that I'm proud of, and you know, I'm sure I speak for Layla you know, in this, and Ashley as well. Ashley was an investor on the project as well. So, and then, and for Kiko, our whole team is that we're proud that we didn't give up, you know, we pushed through, and we ended up, you know, closing and getting all of our investors out and paid back their principal and their interest that we promised them. Okay, so not only did they get paid back, they got paid back in full, right? So that we can be extremely proud of. And I can say, but if this was my first deal, I would not be here talking to you guys. You know what I mean? So that is a huge lesson that I want to share with everybody on this call, that if you're new and just getting started, make sure the first deal is a home run. And if you have any feelings that you're in over your head, get a partner, even if you have to give them half the equity, you know, just to watch over your shoulder. Okay, because you don't want the first deal to be your last deal. And I always say this, like, you don't want checkmate after the first move, you know, so, because it's very possible. I've known, and Ashley knows, and Layla knows, multiple investors and developers who are no longer in this business for this very reason, you know, and it almost happened to us. Fortunately, you know, we're strong enough, and we have the resources to have made it through a deal like that, taking, you know, high six-figure loss on a deal, you know, and still be here. It's something to say. And that's something I can, you know, be proud of ourselves for that. Right. So anyways, so with that.
You left out all of the details of why you're holding.
Well, I'm going there. So with that, let's talk about everything that went wrong. And I hope Layla's still on the line too, but I might need Ashley and Layla's input, because there's so many things that went wrong on this property that I can't even remember it. I mean, we're talking from hurricane to sod killers. I don't know if you guys know what sod killers are. They're like these worms that eat your sod. Let's see. The very first thing that happened was I get a call from the neighbor at like midnight, okay, saying like, hey, I hear water leaking in your house. Like, I went to go check on it. I shut off one of the valves, so there was 2 leaks, like that water was coming out. I was like, okay, is it bad? And he said, I think you can wait till tomorrow, you know? And I was like, okay. And so I put my head back down, you know, on the bed, and I'm just thinking about it. I was like, I was like probably like 25 minutes away from the property. So I figured, you know what, let me just go check on it. Better to be safe than sorry. Thank God I did, because when I got there, it wasn't no small leak. It was like this, the pipe was just bursting. And so I ended up having, like, I had to find the shutoff valve, and I couldn't find the shutoff valve. I think I called Ashley. I was calling Ashley. I was like, hey, do you know where the shutoff valve is? Ashley shouldn't know, because like, she didn't represent us on the buy for this property.
And it was 1 o'clock in the morning. And
no, but you were texting me. Remember, you texted me about the Makakilo property. Like, oh, is it a 3.1.5 or 3.2? I was like, you wouldn't believe where I am right now. That's what I was texting Ashley. And then she's like, you should check the inspection report when you bought it. I was like, that's a great idea. So I looked through the inspection report, get to the point where there's supposed to be the disclosure of where the water shutoff valve is, but the inspector left it out. And it's probably because he couldn't find it. So to this day, I don't know where the shutoff valve is. I don't know. Layla, did you ever find the water shutoff valve for that house?
Yeah, I found the water shutoff valve because when we came on market, a buyer walked by a water spigot and it randomly burst on him and soaked this buyer from head to toe at high pressure and started flooding the yard, which was the 3rd flood that we had in the yard from a busted pipe, with sprinklers and everything else. And I had to go try to find the shutoff water valve then, which was in the front of the property.
Yeah, well, I'll hand it to Ashley to talk about all the stuff that happened to us after we went to market. And I made that post right before we went to market, okay? And it did not stop. We got broken into by this crazy lady who bashed the window and bashed the front door and came in and like
Door. And
the
she
front
put
door.
everything upside down. She put all the outside furniture inside. She put all the inside furniture outside. She stacked it weird on top of each other. She took the wall art over and she started putting it like in the closet or like on the bed. She took the shower curtain, she put it on the bed wet, and she took the blankets and put it in the shower. She took all the staging, like old pretzels and stuff like that, and it was like in water, like, but there was a cup on top, and then there was like a plant from inside in there. I mean, it was
She was
just
mentally deranged, and she trashed our house while we were on market. They caught her because she was, I don't know, she did that to another property down the road. But like as soon as that happens, like it has to be disclosed, and like then you get, it's just a stigma on the listing, you know, so or during your escrow. So there was that. We had when Hurricane Lane was here, like that, the hurricane didn't hit hard, but it was strong winds. It blew over our tree in the backyard, which fortunate because the tree was termite rotten. We didn't know that, but it fell down, barely missed the roof. Like it took out it chipped the roof on the side, but that's it. At that point, I was like, already I was kind of thinking like, man, if this thing took out the house, I don't think I'd be mad. You know, we're insured. Like, I think I'd be like, yes, you know, like, but it didn't. And when we went to go for the resale, turns out, yeah, that tree was probably important because they were complaining about privacy, and that tree like blocked out the entire back, you know, like it made the back its own oasis and kind of private. So we ended up having to pay for like I can't even remember how many Areca palms we had to put in the back or along the side for privacy. So we ended up doing that. What else happened?
I was going to show it after an open house. So we got 3 failed open houses from random leaks or things bursting in the property. And then I had one open house and the buyer was like, you know what? We love it. I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring my husband. We want to get out of Waikiki. We want to get away from the homeless. Like, we want to get to Kahala. So I go and show them the next day. I'm on the phone with somebody. I get in the house and I see there's some furniture disarranged in the back. I go outside to look and I turn around to the property and there was a homeless lady naked laying down in the yard.
Yeah.
And the buyer was about to show up. And so the buyer and the homeless lady were crossing paths as she was escaping the yard, because I went over, I'm like, should I call the police or approach her? Like, I don't know if she's got something. So everything imaginably like possible can go wrong with a property pre and post market did. And then even after they closed escrow, they came back and said, we can't get internet and cable because whoever did the renovation ripped the lines out, and now we can't. And then they were trying to come back to Corey and them and ask for $3,000 to connect the internet and cable lines, because they have to dig straight from the street, which is the second property that happened that year because all of the wires were just ripped out. So keep in mind when you guys are doing your flips and on your seller's disclosure and on your MLS, if you guys include cable, or if you just say like inclusions or what's there, cable electric, meaning it's available, that means you also have to have it connect, like it has to be connectable as well. So if you have that just as a generic, like, yes, you know, sewer, water, cable, electric, yeah, you best have cable abilities, because otherwise they can come back at you and it's thousands of dollars if they can't find exactly where the line is under the street.
Yeah. So be careful when your demo crew is going out there. Like it's hard because you want them to move fast and get after it, but sometimes they demo the wrong stuff, you know, they pull out the cable lines and like they think it's just whatever, and then you forget to put them back in, and then you go to resale a few months later and then come to find out, oh, you don't have cable set up, you know, and it's all drywalled already. So it's not easy to fix that problem, right? So that's a learning lesson, you know. That's a great thing that Ashley, thanks for bringing that up, because yeah, that can be brutal. But we had permitting issues major permitting issues. I'll show you guys, let me share my screen so I can show you guys, some pictures. Can you guys see this? Can somebody let me know?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. So let me move this. Okay. So this is the house, like when we bought it, right? Oh, that's blurry. This is the back where we ended up blowing out the whole back portion. This is Keikoa doing something. This is the back area that we decided to blow out and vault the ceilings. So this is from the backyard looking at the property. You can see that we've already kind of cut the backside. The only thing recognizable that we really didn't change in this property was this wall right here, this brick wall. So you'll see it in the after photos, because we just had to keep chipping away at this thing and keep dumping money in and keep dumping money in. Oh, and that's another thing. We had to fire our crew who we worked with for like 3 years because of this project. They ran away with a lot of our money. So this tree right here was the tree that fell down. It was kind of a pain because we had to, it was going over to the neighbor's house as well. So this is them reframing the back. You can see through the house, right? We had to demo everything and reframe like pretty much the entire house. It just kept getting crazier and crazier, and like shit got real quick on this deal. So you see the triangle cut out here. This is them preparing for the extension of the back. So we added on square footage on this and then vaulting the ceiling here. So basically it's a house being held up with sticks, right? I mean, you can see through the entire house. You can see all the way through. This is the back. Now it's, starting to take form because we got the windows framed. We got, the extension part framed. These are the footings that we had to put in. A couple of massive footings here and here for the structural. And then these are the beams, the glue lamp beams that we had to put, carry to the back to vault the ceiling. Now, Keiko and I didn't think about all this stuff that would have had to go on when we made the decision to go this route instead of just rehabbing to the existing and selling for less and taking a smaller profit, So again, that was lesson number 2, but lesson number 2 is a huge lesson. You don't want to fight the existing footprint unless you have to, right? I think we talked about this before, but let's talk about it again. There's 3 forms of appreciation, right? There's instant appreciation, there's forced appreciation, and there's market appreciation. So the one thing that we don't rely on is market appreciation, right? Because then we're speculating and we're just gambling, right? Because we don't know what the market's going to do in a few months from now, right? You don't know if it's going to go up or down or whatever. So if you get market appreciation when you go to resell, that's just icing on the cake, right? And then there's instant appreciation where you're buying it with instant equity. So you're buying at the right price that you have a thick margin of profit and security, insulation, we call it, right? So then there's forced appreciation. Now, forced appreciation is something that you can rely on, but it's still not the best form of appreciation. The best form of appreciation is instant appreciation. That's why they say you make your money when you buy, because instant appreciation is what we're all going for. You got to know that you're going to make money when you buy that property, right? If you rely too heavily on forced appreciation, you get this. You lose $700,000 on one house flip. Okay, so don't do that. That's a big lesson that I learned, is do not rely too much on forced appreciation, which we did on this project, which is one of the biggest mistakes we did. Okay, I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that we did on this project. Some people cannot stomach a $700,000 loss. You know, it'll be game over, checkmate, done. So, oh, this is just a picture of me searching for the shutoff valve for when the water was bursting. This is early on in the project. This is probably the first kind of bad thing that happened. We should have had the house blessed. In fact, I think we did. But I don't know. I think it was meant to be. Like, I think, you know, Kiko and I, we blasted off. We were, you know, we were hitting it hard. We were scoring some major wins. And then, you know, I think God or the universe just kind of wanted to grab us by the throat and just slap us across the face a few times and remind us that, you know, we're not invincible, you know, and show us who's boss. And he definitely did. The universe definitely showed us who was boss. Okay, so let's see. Mute Gene real quick. Okay, this is me actually getting the water shut off, but I actually didn't get it shut off. I had to call Board of Water emergency line. So I cheated a little bit, but they ended up coming down in midnight and shutting off the water for us. Okay, now this is us trying to kind of getting through this, right? This is the master bedroom. One thing that was kind of cool was we started to get creative because we had to with our budget, you know, our budget being blown by over 100 grand. This is the master bedroom. One thing that we didn't like was that the ceilings were very low. They weren't very low. It was just normal. It might've been like 9 feet or something like that, 8 to 9 feet high. So we ended up like traying out the ceiling here, just cutting out a portion so that there's a portion of the property that it looks, you know, it has some sort of design element to it, but it's more for like having it look a little bigger, right? So these pictures are like of the after. So these are the photos that Ashley took. We ended up having to put a fence around because all of the comments we were getting about the property was that there was no privacy. So we had to pay for this fence. And then we were going to keep it as a carport. We're trying to, you know, save wherever we can because we know that every single dollar that we dump into this property, we're not getting back, right? At this point. So every time Ashley's telling us we need more sod or we need areca palms or we need fence or we need garage door, it's like, oh, I just feel sick to my stomach because I know that usually when you put money into a property, if you put in 50 grand or maybe $15,000 worth of fencing, you want to know that it's increasing your resale value to like 30,000 or something, right? But I knew at this point already that every dollar we're putting in, I'm never going to see back again, right? And that is a hard dollar to let go of. So it was very painful to make those decisions, but they had to be made. This is the Kahala neighborhood. I think this is our house right here. Okay, and then let's see. This is the finished product. So another thing that I think we can be proud of is we didn't quit. We finished the house and the house was beautiful. And our new buyers got a beautiful house that we could stand in front and be proud of, right? This is the little nick in the shingle that the tree, when the Hurricane Lane took out our tree. So, and then this is the wall. This is the wall that is the only recognizable thing of this property from when we bought it. And let me see, this is the glue lamp beams. This is the living room. So right here, this decision right here for this beautiful living room and kitchen and dining area was our biggest mistake. And this is where the $700,000 decision, you know, the $700,000 loss decision was made. So please, everybody, I hope you guys can take away something from this presentation on our biggest, scariest Halloween moment is that to be very conservative on your numbers. And, you know, even if you're hitting a couple home runs, just remember you're not invincible, and that if it's your first deal, make sure it's a home run so it's not your last deal. I think I got a couple more photos, but this is a master bedroom. This is a master bathroom. We did floating cabs. I think that's we did quartz. Layla, you can talk about design and jump in at any time if you want. This is the shower. We did a tub and standing shower. It was a beautiful house. I'm very proud of the finished product. But it was very expensive learning lesson. One that I will never, ever forget. Monkey pod countertop, that was beautiful. We did that. We did Viking appliances. The other thing that took long was this order of the kind of the luxury finishes. Took a long time. And then, we're in a trade war with China. So all of the materials, is either are on long lead times or a lot more expensive. So this is Jonah. I had to bring Jonah in halfway through because I was getting right when I found out like I'm in trouble, like how do I get this out? You gotta lean on the people who, are mentors to you. And this is Jonah, who was on the call last week, right? Talking about his project. So I lean on Jonah, I lean on Ashley, I lean on Layla, and Kiko and I lean on each other whenever, we have important decisions to be made. So that's the one thing is like, I wouldn't want to do this by myself. It's hard to do these by yourself because you want to be able to high five people when you win and celebrate, and celebrate the wins. But you also want someone to hug, when you're in times like this, when you're going to lose, you're going to take a big hit, right? And you don't want to take misery loves company sometimes. So anyways, if anybody, I know we're over time. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to, speak up, but we'll end this call here. And hopefully you guys got something out of today's call. It's obviously not the most pleasant thing to talk about, right? Like your losses, but I think it's the most important thing to talk about. So anyways, everyone have a happy Halloween. I'm going to stick around for a little while, but have a happy Halloween. Oh, and here's a picture of the down tree. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's on my Instagram. That's me next to my mom. So the tree barely hit the house. But hopefully there's a lot of learning lessons in there for you guys. And have a great Halloween. I'm going to stick around and chit chat with everybody who has the time to hang out. And I'll answer questions about the project. But, at the end of the day, we got out of it this year. And it was a huge celebration, amongst ourselves and our team. And we can hold our heads proud and sleep at night because the only guys that lost was Kiko and I, so $700,000, like that still hurts, but fortunately we're blessed to be, in the financial position that we're in to be able to take losses like that. And I hope that no one ever has to write a check at escrow for six figures. And if you do, call me because misery loves company and I'll be there for you. We can cry together. Have a great Friday, everybody. Have a great Halloween. Be safe. And we'll see you in the Facebook group, and we'll see you next week. Aloha. Woo! Ouchie. Let me stop this recording.
Corey, I don't think we've ever heard of a 700K loss ever.